This is the week, of course, when we observe Thanksgiving Day, a day that we ought to be observing every single day because gratitude is one thing we give back to God for so much that He gives to us. And when we reflect, each of us, on the blessings that we are endowed with, they are so many that it takes an awful long time to truly give thanks for family, for good health, for good jobs, for the opportunity to live in the greatest nation in the history of civilization. And of course, we know a little bit about the history of Thanksgiving Day, thinking back to 1621 and the first Thanksgiving Day celebrated by the Pilgrims and their Native American friends. Probably not at the same time of year that we do it, the end of November. At best, the early part of November, maybe even as early as September. We're not quite sure exactly of the dates, but more likely sometime in the middle of October. A gigantic feast. Many of the things that we eat on Thanksgiving Day going back to the original Thanksgiving Day. And then there really weren't many celebrations of Thanksgiving Day, even among the early settlers here. And in the early days of the Republic, several presidents proclaimed days of Thanksgiving, George Washington being among them, but there was never any national holiday until 3/4 of a century later when Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national day of Thanksgiving in 1863. But then the date that was fixed wasn't exactly right until they changed it in 1939 to 1941 in the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration, and Congress finally acting in 1941 to fix it as the fourth Thursday in November, the day on which we now observe and celebrate our Day of Thanks with feasts, family, and football. And who that lives in Pennsylvania couldn't give thanks for what's going on with our professional football franchises here? It looks like there's a real possibility of an all-Pennsylvania Super Bowl. What would that be like? Can you imagine the trash talking that would take place for those 2 weeks between the end of the regular playoffs and the Super Bowl itself, should the Steelers and the Eagles, who currently have the best records in football, actually get there? Would be something to behold and a lot of fun for anybody that lives in the Keystone State. But looking ahead, 2 issues that we'll watch over the course of the next week or two. One, of course, the continuing unfolding of sexual scandal and allegations in Washington, Hollywood, and elsewhere. I think there's a lot more to come out of the closet, and this congressional hush fund or shush fund, I think, is really going to be at the apex of it all as we go forward and see what is yet to be revealed. Secondly, with the spending bill coming up in just a couple of weeks, the Democrats are threatening a shutdown of the federal government over DACA. That's going to be something very interesting to watch. In recent years, the shutdowns have been, quote unquote, blamed on Republicans. This would be one that would be blamed on Democrats. Let's see how all that plays out. There will be something worth watching. And for now, a blessed, happy Thanksgiving weekend to all of you. And that is the best 60-ish seconds of it.